Welcome. I'm Nur Laiq, Senior Policy Analyst with the Middle East Program here at IPI. As part of IPI's focus on the Arab Spring, I'm delighted to welcome Ahmed Maher. IPI has increasingly hosted meetings that relate to the dramatic events unfolding in the Middle East. Most recently, we've had the 2011 Nobel Peace Prize winner, Tawakkol Karman. We've also had writers from Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, and Yemen offering insight into the revolutions. Tonight, I'm very happy to have Ahmed here with us. I will ask the first few questions and then open to the floor for discussion. Ahmed is a prominent youth activist from Cairo and is the founder and general coordinator of the April 6th youth movement. He first became involved in political activity in 2003 when he engaged in protests against the war in Iraq. In 2004, he participated in the demonstration of the Kifaya movement, a grassroots movement that organized the first public protests against President Mubarak. Ahmed founded the April 6th movement in 2008 with the goal of mobilizing young Egyptians against the regime. I first met Ahmed a month ago in New York when he was en route to speak about the revolution, first in Hollywood and then at Harvard, and then at UCLA, which is where he's coming to us from today. When I last met you, Ahmed, you were just about to head down to Occupy Wall Street. And actually, I know that you're actually coming from Occupy Wall Street just now, where Ahmed just spoke at the head of a march and then went down with them to Union Square. And I think we're actually very lucky to have have him here at all, because I know that they were very tempted to stay on. And I remember last time you saying that you wanted to sleep down there. So I think in that sense, we probably benefit from this New York court sleeping ban down there. So on that note, Ahmed, I'd like to actually start with Occupy Wall Street. And I know that you advised Occupy Wall Street on protest tactics and even led one of their marches last time. So can you tell us about that experience? What did you advise them, and what do you think their best move would be right now?
Thank you, Noor. First of all, I want to thank you and thank all the participants, and I'm very proud to be here. About Wall Street, that I met them several times from more than 1 month when I came to New York and gave a speech also in Occupy Wall Street. And after that, I participated in march in Occupy Wall Street. And also, this time I visited Occupy Boston and Occupy Los Angeles and Occupy DC, and also today Occupy Wall Street again. It was very great demonstration today and very great march, and I will join them now after this speech. There is many difference between Occupy movements and what happened in Arabic countries. And also there is many difference between Occupy movement in many states in the United States. The main difference between Egypt or the Arabic countries and the Occupy movement, that the conditions that we lived in Arabic countries is different to United States. We lived in miserable life in Arabic countries under torture and corruption and frauded elections and many things that we suffered from all that more than 30 years. No freedom of speech, no political life in Egypt or the Arabic countries. So we need change to have better life, to have good salaries, to have job. There is many reasons lead for the revolution in Arabic countries. Here in the United States, the situation is different. Maybe here have freedom of speech, have life better than Arabic countries, but also they searching for social justice, searching for education for all sectors of people. They search for many things that they need here in the United States. So they try to do the same, but I think and my also advice to them, all Occupy movement, that they need to think about the type or the shape of a change and how to make it change. And I think that's a good step, and it will leading for change in economical policy in the United States.
So do you think that they need to have one message, which they don't right now, to have a unified message? Is that what you're suggesting?
They need unified message, and they need a clear vision, and they need some organization. And I think that's a good step, and in the future they can make a change in policy.
I mean, I know that last time that you also told me that you think that, or at least last time, that they perhaps obey authority a bit too much, because when you went on the march, they were stopping at the traffic lights and things like that. So there needs to be some show of a little bit of disrespect towards authority. But I'd actually like to turn to you and where your activism comes from. You know, what drove you and who has inspired you in your struggle?
It's a very long story.
So the short version.
Okay. Me, like many youth in the middle class in Egypt, have education but didn't find a good job, and spend more time to can marriage in Egypt. So we face many frauded things in Egypt. Also, if you want to get your rights, if you want a license, if you want to any signature of any paper, you must to pay illegal money first, and have bad education, and there is many conditions. So me and many youth in Egypt from before 2003 searching for how to make a change in Egypt, how to change the regime. The regime is not Mubarak and not the government. The regime is rules and constitution and many things. So I searching for some people talking about the same speech. I found Kifaya movement, or enough movement in English. So they started the first struggle against Mubarak regime, and there was political figures, but the youth tried to make action more fast than them. So we started to establish a movement called Youth for Change, and it's leading to the bloggers movement, and try to have a link between us and the workers. Then establish April 6 youth movement after we calling for general strike using Facebook and Twitter, and we was the first group in the world using Facebook and Twitter to organize political events.
But which other movements influenced you? I mean, I know that in the past you've talked about the Serbian group Otpor that helped overthrow Milosevic. So them or others, I mean, what did they influence you? What did you learn from them specifically?
After 2005, the Mubarak regime tried to ban any movement in Egypt, so they put us in the jail. I spent in the jail several times. And we think about how we can change, violence or non-violence. Is non-violence effective, or try to use weapons against Mubarak regime? So we try to think about the way to change, and we start to reading about the experience of what happened in Eastern Europe and many countries. So started to see movies about Martin Luther King, about Gandhi, about Czech Republic, Poland, Ukraine, Georgia, Serbia. There's many countries succeeded to change the regime and try to build a new regime after that. So we started to study the experience of those countries. And after April 6 youth movement, we started to see many movies, documentary movies about the type of change and how to make it change. And also the internet make the connection between us and the people in this country is very easy to know more about details, about the structure of this movement, and now also we study the experience about what happened after the revolution.
Yeah.
How Poland built a strong regime and new political life, how Czech Republic changed the Ministry of Interior and the police inside. There is many experience, how there is also many countries didn't have the example or ideal shape of change. So we try to study also why they failed about change.
Well, actually, that leads me into a question I'd like to ask you about strategy for your movement. You've said that you'll sit these elections out, that you'll make the shift to a political party in about 5 years' time. You've mentioned wanting to emulate pressure groups like Move On and even learn a bit from groups like the Tea Party. What in particular about these groups is relevant to the April 6th movement?
Our idea that to build a new regime and real regime in Egypt, we will spend several years learning and try and error, and democratic process will need a time to change the mentality of the people and culture of the people and the culture of the government and anyone in authority. So we need a time. Our rule not to be a political party searching for any authority or running for the elections. Our rule in Egypt that supervise the process and try to put the process in the right way. So we will supervise the elections and try to be a pressure group against anyone try to keep the authority, and pressure group to supervise the parliament, to supervise the government, the next president. It's more important that the next 5 or 6 years. And we have ability and to make or establish a political party, but not now. Maybe after 6 or 7 years we can establish a political party.
I understand that, but at the same time I think that the youth in Egypt are in quite a hazardous situation, because obviously the youth are the conscience of the revolution, but at the same time, in terms of a political party, the youth don't represent a single ideological current that's deeply rooted in Egyptian society. So in a way, this is going to be the real test for the future. Where will the youth fit into the power equation after the election especially? And how do the youth harness the symbolic power of Tahrir actually? Which leads me to my next question about the elections. So your decision to sit the elections out says a lot in itself. The election process is incredibly complicated. It's going to last 3 months. There are 2 systems, a party list system where 2/3 of parliamentary seats are allotted via that, and then the remaining are open to independent candidates. This means that the conventional dominant parties are going to control the lists. So what do you expect to happen in the election?
I haven't great hope in the next elections. Maybe the elections in 2016 will be better than these elections. So there is many political parties have a great percentage of youth, and there is youth political parties and new political parties. The youth movement, there is many political parties, many youth political parties from youth movement, and also there is youth groups that try to stay lobbying group or watchdog groups. They have lists also, they have candidates and running for the elections, and we try to help them by our campaign called White Circle and Black Circle to try to ban the persons from previous regime from isolate them. And we have troubles about this campaign. So we try to help the youth to enter the parliament, and we will supervise them after that. It's very important. But these elections, I haven't any hope. I'm not optimistic about these elections because it have the same rules of elections, the same type. The persons from Mubarak regime will use money, will use thugs against revolutionary political parties. So I think it will be like temporary parliament, not permanent.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the NDP and the remnants of Mubarak's regime. There's obviously an attempt to pass a law banning the participation of former members. And then there's also this Fulul website where they're tracking those whom they call the remnants of the party to try and get them to not participate in the elections. But the other side to this is that I've seen how that some of the weaker parties are actually using NDP members to pad their lists, because especially in areas where NDP families rule, such as Upper Egypt, for example. So how strong are they? I mean, given the entrenched patronage network that exists already?
We try to ban them or apply the isolation law because there's many problems in that law. So we try to make that law, because after any revolution, you must to protect your revolution from the previous regime. We know that. But there is, in Cairo, Alexandria, and the main cities in Egypt, the people will not elect the person from the previous regime, but it's different in Upper Egypt and Delta and the agriculture neighborhoods. So it's depending on families.
Yeah.
So they have many persons of flul, you said this expression too, about the person from Mubarak regime. So we try to spreading awareness in these places. We try to talk about the criteria of good person in the parliament. Didn't pay money, didn't disappear after the parliament elections. So we try to spread awareness in these areas, and we hope it will affect in the future.
Just staying on the topic of elections, what about, and moving away from the NDP for a minute, to another party about whom there are a lot of rumors swirling, this about the Muslim Brotherhood and SCAF and a possible behind-the-scenes deal? Like, how much truth is there to this rumor?
I don't think it's real. Muslim Brotherhood, it's a political party and very old political stream, and they are like any political party in any country. They are pragmatic. They want benefits. They want authority, like anyone in running for the elections or politicians. So they can deal at moment with the Supreme Military Council, and maybe the next step they facing the Supreme Military Council. And I haven't any problem with Muslim Brotherhood because democracy, if anyone choose Muslim Brotherhood, if the Egyptians choose Muslim Brotherhood, and Muslim Brotherhood in the authority, and we will see their behavior to govern Egypt, and elections will determine, the next election will determine if they will continue or not. But I think that the most important thing to ban Egypt from turn to military, governed by military, because it's very dangerous. Then Islamic groups, we can deal with them, we can negotiate with them, we can make a demonstration against Muslim Brotherhood if they in the authority. But what about governing by military? It's more dangerous.
Well, sir, actually talking of the military and the SCAF, the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, I've noticed that every concession made by SCAF so far has been a direct result of popular protest, of people coming out onto the streets. So, to go back to what you were just saying, what does this actually say about their hold on power?
They said that they don't want any power, and they said from February that they will leave the authority after 6 months. That was in September. Now I think there is many agreements or thinking about terms or articles in the new constitution talking about no one can supervise the budget of the army, and no one can investigate with them. But we don't want that. Egypt will need transparency in everything, in the budgets of the army, in everything. No one above the law in Egypt, including military. So we will keep struggle to have a civil country and to protect Egypt from anything from military governing or religious governing. So it's very important the next days. And I think day by day, Egyptian, there's awareness increased day by day. The Egyptian now, before the revolution, all the Egyptian talking about football, talking about movies, talking about anything. But now all the Egyptian talking about politics, talking about the next parliament, talking about the next president. So I think it's very hard to anyone to be like Mubarak, and it's very hard to any minister of interior to be like Habib al-Adli.
Yeah, but SCAF is quite slippery in that sense. I mean, there's been lots of talk about the Turkish model, not just the secular aspect of it, but also the appeal that it would have for SCAF, because after all, to try and reinvent themselves again as the guardian of the state. So, I mean, what specifically is April 6th doing in terms of trying to
Every especially.
Yes.
We are enemy of states now. Last July, the Supreme Military Council published a statement against April 6.
Yeah.
And they didn't like April 6 because they think that we are very aggressive and more radical, but we are not. We're searching for equality and social justice and dignity and freedom of speech. So we will try to keep a struggle against this matter, against to Turkish model. About the governing of military, about everything. We will keep that, and I think I'm optimistic in the future, about the future.
Well, I've just got one more question for you, after which I want to open it up to the floor for discussion, so we have a good 45 minutes for the audience to actually engage with you. So my final question actually relates to the future. And because, in Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, all these have been revolutions of expectations. What are the youth's priorities for the revolution? Is this about political freedom or social justice? If you had to pick a priority, what would it be?
Egyptian joined demonstration on 20th of January and 28th of January for three main reasons. Freedom and dignity and social justice. That is the main three priority of Egyptian. So any political party in Egypt must to concern about these three issues and didn't make separation about freedom to social justice. It's the main issue and the same issue. And also our successful of April 6 and youth movement all that years, because we made a link between social demands and economical demands and political demands. It's the same issue, not three issues.
Yeah, except those are three huge issues which cover just about everything. So on that note, I will open the floor for a conversation with the audience, and already there's so many hands up. I just want to quickly say we've got 40 minutes or so. We'll take one question at a time. Can you please state your name and affiliation before you ask your question? So I will start with you right here in the front.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor first, and thank you, Ahmed, for the presentation. It was really very enlightening. My name is Mohammed Ibrahim. I'm a judge from Egypt, and I work here with the United Nations as a legal advisor with the DPKO. I first wanted just to make the terms very clear. I don't think what happened in Egypt is revolution rather than uprising. The term revolution means changing regime. The regime didn't change. We have the military junta ruling for the last 60 years, and they're still there. So I think I will be very happy to say revolution when the military junta really transferred the power to a civil government. And I think we have the tool to do that through the coming election. I was really surprised when you said that you are not very optimistic regarding the coming result of the election. However, I think this is the main tool that we can prove that this uprising is a successful one. By the same youth, if they go to the ballot poll and they vote whatever, east, west, north, south, but at least change regime. This will be the ultimate goal or the end state for this uprising to be a revolution coming to the second state. So I'm just wondering why your pessimism coming from, why you are that pessimistic regarding the revolution or the election. Having said that, it is monitored by judges, which is I'm very proud of being a member of them. That's why I'm very keen to mention that. Whether in Egypt or outside will be with the diplomat doing that, which is both institutions are very well respected with confidence. So I'm very confident from my side that the result will be the first time in the modern history that will reflect the free will of the Egyptians. So I'm right. I like to know your insight in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the revolution didn't finish yet, and we must to keep the spirit of revolution until the real change will happen. And the real change didn't happen till now. About the elections, I think the problem with the law of elections, if we see the experience of Tunisia and also many countries in Eastern Europe, they make like isolation law to ban the person from previous regime to deal with politics 3 or 5 years. In Egypt, no. In Egypt, the Supreme Military Council, depending on Fulul, depending on person from previous regime, and they try to caused troubles to April 6 movement and all the bloggers in Egypt, and the police and the military police didn't do anything, and they agree by what happened in Egypt from them to us. I think it will be successful. I would be optimistic if the law and the rules of the elections try to ban the persons who destroyed Egypt all that 30 years. And I will be optimistic if the terms of law of elections change it. And also there is something else about the constitution and presidential election. Who is first, constitution first or presidential election first? So it's the next battle after, or not battle, debates after the parliament election. The parliament, the next parliament will be better than 2005, but not the ideal, not the parliament that we dream about.
I noticed you had your hand up first, and then I'll go to the back of the room afterwards.
Thank you. My name is Hazem Fahmi. I am an Egyptian diplomat, but I work for the UN Secretariat. Ahmed, I worried me a little bit, and I want to ask you a question about this issue of you sitting out these elections. What makes you so sure that in 5 or 6 years, the mood will be too different in the country, for good or for worse, and it might be too late for you to come back in the process, as the dynamics will change, and you will have at least some kind of a democracy that you cannot have another revolution. I mean, so the window is closing for your aspirations and for your change to be reflected. I wish I had seen you all in the parliament, this one, or fighting for it. I mean, so I'd like to know what were your consideration in taking that decision, and are you realizing this risk you are taking or not, by the window of opportunity might be closing?
I think we can influence on politics without involving in politics. That's our idea. And there is many successful example like that. There is many groups, lobbying groups and watchdog groups, and many groups make a successful experience about influence on politics without involving in politics. About the next parliament, I think there is changing in democracy and freedom of speech, but not the change that we dream about. Total freedom of speech, about no supervising or not controlling of the newspapers and the media. There is controlling from the Military Council to the national TV and some private channels. So we need more of freedom, we need more of transparency, and we will gain that in the future. So I think that the next parliament will be not the revolution parliament, because the same person from Mubarak regime, they using money, they using thugs against anyone from opposition or anyone from revolution. They using rumors. So I think it will take a time to have a real parliament.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I think at the same time, this election is going to be a game changer in the sense that there will be a shift in the center of power from, two institutions away from the square, actually. So that's then brings up another issue. But I will go with that, yes.
Thank you. Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. Mr. Maher, I have two questions to ask you. First, you're very young, so obviously you could have a political career in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Is this something that you potentially or possibly see for yourself and for your movement, that you actually started this uprising or revolution, and that basically it's your generation that should take the reins? And also, I wonder if you could tell us a little more about your experiences in Occupy Wall Street. Today was the 2-month anniversary. Could you tell us what you did and where you're going to be going after you leave here tonight?
Okay. About me and the movement. About me, I didn't think about my future. Maybe president of Egypt, I don't know. But not now. The movements must to build grassroots and basis first, and because to not like the new political parties haven't groups, haven't grassroots, haven't basis, so they suffering from the power of Muslim Brotherhood. So I think we need to build a real movement and have roots, have power to, and after that we can think about establishing a political party, Muslim Brotherhood, have have Jama'ah, and also have one political party and thousands of NGOs. But so maybe in the future, after 70 years, you will see every sex youth movement. About Occupy Wall Street, I think Occupy Wall Street now is better than 2 months ago. And they are in the right way to have a clear vision. Maybe this year, maybe next year, maybe they will find a unified message. But they are in the right track, and they need also to find any solution to connect more people and attract more people to have a real pressure to kind of change the policies here in the United States. And also, I will visit them tonight, and I will spend all the night with them until my flight in the morning, to talk with them also and get information from them and thinking together about organization and vision. Thank you.
I think I'll just, this gentleman here. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Joe Lauria. I cover the UN for the Wall Street Journal. I wanted to ask you about the similarities and the differences between what happened in Cairo and what's going on down here in Wall Street. I arrived in Tahrir Square the day after Mubarak stepped down. I spent 5 weeks there, and I've been several times downtown, and I've been in the Washington, D.C., occupied D.C. camp as well. And I think there's a similarity in asking for a change in regime. The difference is, in Egypt, everybody knew what the regime was and how it worked. And I wonder if American people who have a greater stake, more Americans have a greater stake in their regime and their system than Egyptians did in theirs. So maybe it was clearer to Egyptians that this was a police state, crony capitalism, businesses owned by the military. Where here, the fact that corporate money, Wall Street money, dominates, even owns the political system here, is not very clear necessarily to many Americans. So wondering if you could comment on this. Do you see similarities, as I described, they both want regime change, whereas in Egypt it was known to the Egyptians, but the American people not as clued in?
I think similarity is the youth and the spirit and the hope of change. That is similarity. And there is many difference between the idea of change, the shape of a change in Egypt and the United States. In Egypt, we want to change the regime, the rules, constitution, and persons also. In the United States, I think they want to make a change in the economic regime and to have health insurance, to have better education, to have to decrease debts.
Debt.
Debts.
Debt relief.
Yes. But as you mentioned, they need a unified message. They need a clear vision, and also when we started before 2005, we haven't a clear vision. We want to change, but we don't know how. But day by day, and writing and thinking and try and error, we have a clear vision in 2009 about how to change and how to connect with the people in poor neighborhoods, how to connect with workers, how to send the message, said that democracy equal bread, democracy equal good salaries. That's our message before 25th of January. And I think here, no one from abroad, from Egypt, can decide to them. But I can think with them. But the decision, final decision, is with the American youth.
Just to the lady at the back.
Thank you. I'm Lydia. I'm working with the German mission here in New York. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for being here tonight and for being so open. And my question might broaden the context a little bit. I was wondering, what do you think is the role of the youth in the so-called Western countries, meaning Europe and the US, to contribute to the change, to contribute to a more just and equal world? And maybe I could also say, what do you expect from these young people to do to help you to contribute? Especially because, as you said, the context is very different. They might not feel the inequalities as such. How to encourage these young people to contribute? Thank you.
Thank you. I think I traveled to Europe, I traveled to Korea, I traveled to United States, and searching for democracy. And I found that the youth in Spain and Italy and Greek suffering from the shape or the type of the regime there, and they want to change the regime. And also I found there is not ideal shape of democracy, but there is different levels of democracy. So I think the young generation or the new generation can make a change in the world. Now we are connecting each other. Before 2003, before the revolution of new media or social media, I think about the American people, they are devils, try to kill Arab people, and also the Europe people the same. But when I talk to the people using internet and chatting, talking about my culture and asking about them culture and talking about each other, we change many bad ideas about each other. I found there is a difference between American people and American NGOs and the American government. Also the same in Europe. So I think by connection, by supporting each other, by speaking, by dialogues with the people from Arab countries, African countries, and Europe and America and Asia, so we can make a real change to support nations, to support people. I think in the future we will break many old ideas, and we will create a new life, and we create a new principles. That is my point of view.
Yeah, I'll just this side.
Thank you. William Verdone, University of Rajasthan, and Board Chairman of African Views Organization. Recent news reports indicate some violence and a backlash against Pope Shenouda and members of the Coptic Church. What will the new government, you mentioned freedom of speech and presumably the press, will there be freedom of religion in the new government? I'd like your comments on that. And I hope I pronounced the Pope's name correctly. Thank you.
Freedom of religion?
Just the question was, do you think that there'll be freedom of religion within the new government after the election?
After the election? I don't know. We hope that, and from the principles of our revolution, citizenship and our ideology of every sex, and many political parties concentrate on citizenship and equality. But after the revolution, we found the daily problems between Muslim and Christians. That guy from Muslim loved Christian girl, and families fighting each other and killed each other. The same problems, and also it's need to make a change in culture, and also about Christian in Egypt needs change in rules about unified law to build churches and mosques. It's caused many problems in our Egypt, and there is no real solution to that problem. And Supreme Military Council have the same behavior of Mubarak, neglects the real solutions of that problems. And we saw what happened in Maspero. It's not clashes between Muslim and Christians. No, it's demonstration of Christians and the military killed them in the street. So I think maybe a new regime, if we change the new regime, if we try to spread the culture of equality and citizenship, and we are Muslim and Christians are partner in the same country, in the future maybe it will help. But it needed time because Mubarak regime used this issue to be in the authority, to send message to abroad, to the West about without Mubarak, Muslim Brotherhood or Salafis will kill Christians. And now I think the Military Council used the same message. Without Military Council, the Muslims and radical groups will kill Christian or something like that. But I think I don't afraid about sectarian problems, because Egyptian, when they found any problem caused by crazy guys from Muslim or Christians, they try to stop that. And we live with each other from thousands of years, Muslim and Christians. So I'm sure any problem caused by anyone, it will solve as soon as possible. And also we try to spread the idea of citizenship and equality and partnership in Egypt to solve the problems from roots. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, this lady's had her hand up a long time. So.
I'm Harriet Mandel of Jewish Global Associates, and I congratulate you on your efforts and your inspiration and wish Egypt good luck. My question has to do with your continual discussion about elections, which are certainly a hallmark of democracy. But you did just talk a bit about culture, and the political and social culture in Egypt is a very, very long one. And the issue of institution building and basically education from the grassroots up is an enormous challenge. And I think therein rests the hope, not only in the coming election cycles, but also in how Egypt will be able to convert itself, if not transform itself, generally. And so I'd like to know not only what is happening on the level of political arrangements, but also in the villages and in the schools, and how you're reaching the children, and how, in fact, you plan to take on this enormous challenge of education.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe to that you can just talk a bit about when you say you mean the April 6th movement.
With the youth.
With your question, you mean the April 6th movement, how it intends to reach out.
Speaking generally about the culture, the historical culture of political and social arrangements and the institutions to make them, in fact, not just transparent in speaking about them, but really from the grassroots up.
Yes, you are important. You are right for that, and it's very important issue to reach the far areas and our Egypt and Sinai, and there's many places we need to make that, but we haven't abilities to do that. We are youth activists, we are youth groups, but we try. We have groups in many governorates in Egypt. We try to spread awareness, to change the mentality and culture of people in these places. And you know about more than 25% illiterate in Egypt. So illiterate. Yes. So we need to do something, but I think it will need a time. And we need help from many organizations, from UN, from many NGOs to do the same, to spreading awareness in the far areas. And our Egypt, it's very important to build a new Egypt and have a healthy community. So.
I think I'll just go right to the back, actually, if that's okay.
Hi, my name is Idan Rotenberg. By affiliation, I'm an attorney. I'm also the spouse of a former IPI employee. Oh, okay, I got it closer. Sorry. First of all, sir, congratulations. It's just been terrific to watch the news for the last year, and it's impressive is not even the word for it. But I want to go back to something you said in your very first comment about dignity and freedom and social justice, when you were talking about the difficulty at a day-to-day level for Egyptians about paying illegal money, as you put it, a bribe, for the simplest things, for getting a permit, for running a business, to be able to open a shop on one day and not on another, to get a job in the police, to get a job as a bus driver. If you see yourself stymied in entering politics now, if you see that you don't have a lot of hope for this parliament coming, at a pragmatic level, as a very pragmatic, if not revolutionary upriser, what do you think the movement can do at a day-to-day level to show people that dignity and freedom and social justice are within reach in terms of tackling those fundamental street-level problems that face Egyptians, corruption in the police, a bureaucracy that the Muqtama just represented at such a deep level? What can you do to sort of change the day-to-day experience or to focus people's attention on the day-to-day experience of corruption and a lack of freedom in their everyday life and their professional lives?
If I'm be in power or try to...
Well, so your question is, how do they deal with the day-to-day indignities that people suffer through corruption and police violence? What can April 6 do about it? But I suppose this also links into a question about, how big is your base and who is your base actually? I mean, we know it's youth, but what's their makeup and how can you use them to deal with these issues like corruption? Is that right, Idan?
Okay. Our membership is about 25,000 members in 24 governorates. And it's a real membership, and we have supporters. We have membership and supporters. Supporters, more than 1,000 supporters. We try to do our best. We try to do something about. We have many experts, and we have academies, people and professors. Members in our movement, and we send many projects to, when we was negotiate with the SCAF, we send them many projects and also to the government, and they neglect everything. They have the same behavior of Mubarak. They don't want any really change. They want to just stability, nothing else. They don't want really change in the government or anything. So if I want real change, I must to have national projects about talking about the education, a real system of education, a new system of education, because education in Egypt is very bad, really very bad. And also to change the Ministry of Interior inside. There is many experience about that in Czech Republic and Germany, how to use human rights activists, how to use lawyers inside the Ministry of Interior, how to change the mentality of policemen. There's a very important issue, and now they didn't change anything in Ministry of Interior, and we have the same problems that caused by the same behavior of policemen. And the policemen, after the revolution, they hate revolution and they hate the revolutionary guys. So we need to make really change in Ministry of Interior. We need a really national project. Try to rebuild Egypt or reshape Egypt again. So we are not in the power, we can do that, and also we will wait the next parliament, we will wait the next government, and keep pressure on them to be in the right way about these projects.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like you want to use experiences from groups like Move On or others to actually influence from the outside, and just over there in the middle.
Hi, thank you. My name is Spencer Cox. I'm a student at the New School. I've heard you speak a couple of times at Occupy Wall Street and today as well. My general question for you is about a horizontality. And in the April 6th movement in Occupy Wall Street, there's been this concept of a leaderless movement, of a non-hierarchical form of power and a general concept of a rhizomatic and horizontally based power movement. How much do you think that this is a reality or some element of a political construction of meaning? And with your own experience in the April 6th movement, what was the role of leadership, or was it more also a horizontal and kind of a democratically spread out movement?
About structure and organization, we had the same problems in 2005 about how to make a structure different from the old type of structure in the political parties to let you can move and take action very fast. So we make trial and errors many times from 2005 till 2010 in Youthful Change and Kfaya movement and bloggers, and also in April 6 we was at the beginning one group, and day by day we learned about the structure from non-violence strategy, and there's a science and many websites talk about non-violence and working group. It's inside April 6 and also in the youth movement in Egypt. It's without leader, without one person leading, and without one group leading. April 6 may be the most famous group in Egypt, maybe the largest group and well organized, or the old group in Egypt from youth, but it's not leading all the movement. But we are like network of movement and network of activists. Inside April 6 we have a symbol type of structure. Have represents all the governorate, like all the states in Egypt, and also one represents each university in Egypt, and also we have like a council of all the persons responsible for all the movements in Egypt. So we make like a coalition before the revolution and also after the revolution. It's like a network action, not like hierarchical structure. But we need the organization to have very effective actions, and without organization it will be not effective, and not like old organization, but like networking. It's most like networking. And I talked to my friends in Wall Street about the organization, and from 1 month, and also they try to have the shape of structure they need, because in Egypt it's different, because in Egypt we didn't learn how to work in team working, so it was problems to build any structure in Egypt. And now I think it's different here in the United States, so you can find the structure suitable for culture here in the United States.
Right. Actually, there's someone, sorry, here who's had their hand up for a long time. Sorry, Marianne.
Thank you very much. My name is Wale Idris Ajibade. I'm the Executive Director of African Views Organization. It's a pleasure to see you here, and thank you so much for being here. Both of you, actually. Thank you. My question is in two parts. One of them is first regarding the legitimacy of the millennials. Millennials are persons born from late 70s till the early 2000s. It's said to be that they are grandchildren of the hippies. So whatever it is they're doing is just a lot of noise and nothing is going to come out of it. Question one, is that something that we can relate to Egypt? Question two is, how exactly were you able to coordinate this mass turnout of people? How much role did the social media actually play? And if this were really effective as it appears to the rest of the world, what kind of advice do you have for the sub-Saharan African countries? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I need Arabic.
Yeah, actually, I'm afraid even but actually I didn't understand the first question, so could you perhaps repeat? Yeah, just the question, not the...
Well,
Sorry.
Thank you. I'll explain. The question is about the legitimacy of these activities. We see a lot of people occupying Wall Street today. When they started, they really didn't have an agenda. There was no structure to it. It's just a lot of young people unhappy about situations in the society. But they had really no specific structure or any organization to it. So people expected, okay, the basis is that a lot of things are expected of the millennials. However, not much has been produced so far. It seems like a lot of cloud, a lot of noise, a lot of vacant balloons and things like that. So I'm thinking what happened in Egypt, for instance, and I've met many people from your country, great minds, and great efforts that went to the uprising that occurred to usurp President Mubarak. Now, we'll say that in itself is a great achievement, but right after that, like the gentleman said, the justice from Egypt, not much has changed. You removed Mubarak, and you yourself said Mubarak is not a system.
So the question is,
what can we expect of it, and what are the expectations, and how do you measure the performance of all these activities that's going on in Egypt from the young people?
Okay. So I mean, what the young?
Can you count your achievements, so to speak? Can you recount?
Well, I mean, I guess the revolution's an achievement, but beyond that, what are the achievements of this generation of youth? And then also the social media question.
When we established Every Sex Youth Movement, we said that what is our persons we will focusing on? What is the age we will start? What is the membership age? We said from 60 to 35. It's maybe racial, but we because those people finished education and didn't find job and have a power to make a change. When we try to connect the people more than 50, they are satisfied. They have a job, they have a family, they don't want anything. So they don't want to change. So we're focusing on this generation, our generation, and try to have a different kind of message. Enough movement or Kifaya movement, they are political figures, more than 70 years old or 60 years old. So they talking very complicated. They have very complicated message. And we need to attract the young people to join political events. So we need to talk as the young people in Egypt, talking in using songs, using crazy idea to attract more people. You know, in Arabic, Fusha and Al-Ammiya, you know, formal. So we use the informal Arabic and very crazy expressions to attract more people. About social media, about 20 million of Egyptians using internet. And before April 6 and during 2009, 2010, about 2 million or 3 million using Facebook. But each one of them have a family and have friends. So we can spread the message from those people. In April 6, before April 6 movement, in April 6 event, there is about our group, me and Isra, if someone know about Isra, we create the group calling for general strike. And in a few days, we found more than 70,000 members. Each one asking us, what can we do? And we said to them, spread the idea in your community, with your friends, in your school, university. So we make all the people like ball of snow.
Snowball?
Snowball, increasing day by day. But in April 6 strike, there was no organization to lead, to organize the event. In 25th of January, we spreading the idea of 25th of January first, because it's our annual event in April 6. because it's Police Day. And also, there is many things causing increased anger of people in Egypt, like what happened in the fraud elections in 2010, what happened to Khalid Said, what happened in Alexandria of explosion of church in Alexandria, many things. And also Tunisia. The people find the hope. Before 25th of January, all the people, we love you and we support you, but we can't join. Why? We have children, we have a job, so, and we can't find any hope from what you are doing. But what happened in Tunisia, all the people write on status on Facebook and Twitter and also in the street. The answer is Tunisia. In 26th of February, after 25, all the people, all the Egyptian people write on Facebook and Twitter and in the street, the answer is Egypt. The answer now is Egypt. So the hope, it's very important. And also social media is a tool. Without social media, okay, there is also revolution. Because social media is just try to make the connection is very easy. But without social media, we used flyers, we used graffiti on the wall, we used the traditional tools, and we will think about new tools. We need change. So it's not a Facebook revolution or not social media revolution, but it's just the tools we used it to market our idea of a change.
Yeah, I think I've seen flyers from Egypt where there's sort of instructions given on what to do, like for example, carrying flowers to give to the military and all that kind of thing, so beyond social media. Unfortunately, there's just time for one more question, and after that, Ahmed has agreed to stay here for a little bit before he heads back down to Wall Street, so you can ask your questions one-on-one later. So for my final question, I'll just go right to the back over there.
Thank you. My name is Emil Krstevski, foreign policy analyst and journalist from Republic of Macedonia. We are talking about tonight about the changes of the regime in Egypt, about the changing of government, of the parliament. But I'm curious, and I would like to know, do you expect any changes in foreign policy? Having in mind that Egypt has the very important position towards Arabic world, towards the peacekeeping process in Middle East, and having in mind that also that Egypt is a member of non-aligned movement, the member of African Union, the member of Mediterranean Union. So do you expect any changes in that direction? Thank you.
Thank you. I think we need to make a change in our foreign policy. We need to have a good relation with Middle East country like Turkey, as example, and also African countries. We need to have a good relation with African countries, and also to deal with Europe and the United States as equal, not slaves like Mubarak period. So I think we needed to make a change in our foreign policy, but the problem that we are not governing Egypt. The SCAF governing Egypt, and they have the same behavior of Mubarak. They have the same deals, secret deals with the United States to keep the aids, American aids to the army, and have the same behavior and try to be away from any country in Middle East, try to cut any relation or didn't improve the relation between Egypt and Arabic countries or Turkey or African countries. So I think we need to improve that. Also about someone mentioned Camp David agreement. I heard about that. From 2 months, from 3 months, there is about 3 soldiers, Egyptian soldiers, killed in our borders. 3. So we organized demonstration and sit in front of Israeli embassy. We need to apologize, and we need to make amendment of Camp David agreement. So there is no force can protect Sinai now from the
From Nura can help us.
مجموعات مسلحة military groups. No one can protect Sinai from militias or military groups. So we need to make amendment to can protect our land. And also we need, also the Egyptians don't want any war with anyone. We need to protect our land. We need to live in peace. We need to build our country. But also there is our brothers, our Palestinian brothers, killed every day in Israel, have a miserable life inside. So that is the key of all the problems in Middle East, the Palestinian right. If they have them rights, there is no problems after that.
Okay, Ahmed, I'm going to make use of my position to end with one final question for you. We're just 10 days away from the elections, and we've already asked you about what you expect, but is there anything that'll surprise you? I mean, in a good way? I mean, is there anything that might happen that's a positive surprise, you think, for you?
In the future?
No, yeah, after the elections, since we discussed everything
Surprise
else.
me?
Yes.
I think nothing surprised me.
Really? Okay, on that note,
I can accept anything.
thank you very much for being with us here today.